get out of the glass. If you do it this way, you got to work very carefully to get it into the water, because charcoal wants to float on top of the water. So I prefer to use warm water. Some people prefer warm vegetable oil, and then they don't make it so liquidy, it's more syrupy, and they'll just swallow that. So there's no end of ways of doing this, but my preference is definitely go slowly, stir slowly, because it wants to get out of that glass. And then we just simply say, be a man and drink it all up.
And drink it all up.
All in one.
Okay, yeah, so you just don't want to drink powder, really.
You got it?
That just looks good.
You got a paper towel handy?
Do you keep the same spoon?
Huh? Yeah.
As long as it hasn't been gone from person to person, it's okay. But yeah, once you start reusing things, okay, turn around, smile for the camera. Come on, smile. Where's the paper towel? Don't go away. Give her a little bit more water and swish out the cup.
Have you got a mustache?
No.
Okay, what you're supposed to do is drink a little bit more water, rinse out your mouth. We don't want to, that's it, and then swallow it.
Yeah, give it.
There you go. But you can do that in the original glass, right? When you're at your kitchen sink, just finish, swirl it around so you don't lose any. Where are you going?
Oh, yes, you can take it out.
I was going to sip on it.
And I'll get you a swish, another cup, so she can drink to swish it, okay? After, but yeah, it tastes like nothing.
Very good. How's it taste? What's the texture? What's the texture like?
Black chalk.
Chalk. Okay, so there's that. Give him a little bit more water, and then he can rinse out his mouth.
Does this send me to the bathroom? Does this send me to the bathroom?
The question was, will this give me nausea or cramps or anything like that? Some people it does cause nausea, but
Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha. What? Yes, this one. I'm almost out of water though.
yeah.
You can use mine for, you can use that for mine, this for mine, and hers for a rinse.
Oh, okay. He's making it for someone else? Oh, yeah, for you? Okay. So we'll just make one more with yours.
What are the measurements? How much what cup of water put in there?
In this one, it doesn't really matter. It's not a magic formula. Some people like it very thick, and they get it over with, slug it, and they're done. And other ones make it very painful, and they drag it out, and they sip it, and they play with it, and yes.
How many capsules equal 8 ounces of charcoal?
Depends on what kind of...
I know we have the formula there. I think it's 10 capsules to...
No.
It's in the back of my book. I've forgotten. I'm sorry, but I think it's about 10 capsules to a tablespoon. It is a lot. So if you were to go to a hospital and you've got a 5-year-old and you're not sure, but you know that it's eaten a whole bunch of medications from the cabinet, in most cases they're going to give it charcoal. How much charcoal do you think? What is the standard dose for a child at a hospital? 25 grams. 25 grams. Probably going to be repeated after 8 hours. That is a tremendous amount of charcoal powder. I think it's way over, but the physician doesn't know what the poison was. He doesn't know the amount of it, and so they give these large doses. Emphasis. Any questions? Okay. So everybody, before I answer that question, everybody now has sampled charcoal water? We don't have anybody that's been left out? No? Okay. Tell the truth, So we're going to get to the activated charcoal. So how is that process? Here is This is one of many studies. This was back in 1986, but they go back to the early 1900s. Charcoal removing cholesterol and triglycerides. So the Lancet is a premier medical journal, and it said that 2 tablespoons 3 times a day for 4 weeks will lower total cholesterol by 25%. Is that significant?
Yes.
What about LDL? Low density lipoproteins. Those are the ones you want to get rid of, isn't it? So they were down 41%, and then they doubled the ratio, which is also very positive, and their triglycerides were down 76%. There is no man-made drug that can do that on the market. There's nothing that can do that. So, what is the optimum treatment for coronary heart disease? Nope, it's not charcoal. It's not charcoal. It's modifying your lifestyle. What?
Charcoal is modifying my lifestyle.
But it's what are you eating? How much exercise are you getting? How much water are you drinking? And so forth. The charcoal is just giving you sort of a step up, but really, if you stop charcoal, what's going to happen? You're going to go back to where you were if you haven't adjusted your lifestyle, right? So it makes no sense to tell people to get on charcoal if you're not at the same time rehearsing to them, educating them that they need to look at the bigger picture, right? It's not a cure-all. I mean, you can be all enthused about charcoal as much as you want to, but it's not a cure-all. COVID-19, somebody asked me about COVID. Rice University Medical Center, University Texas Health Science Center, Texas A&M Health Science Center. They all collaborated. These are Texas universities. They all collaborated on a treatment for COVID-19 back in 2020 using hospital-grade charcoal. Did you ever hear that on the news? No. I'm working backwards on this one. What is the primary cause of dementia, Alzheimer? Now, a lot of this stuff, I wouldn't know anything about it except somebody will ask us, and then I have to do what? I have to go research or ask my wife. She probably already knows. And then I put it on a slide, and then I share it. So I'm not claiming any kind of wisdom on these items. I'm just a sharer. I'm giving back to you what's been given to me, freely I've received. So I understand that amyloids are always associated with some sort of dementia Alzheimer complex. Does anybody know can anybody explain to us?
Would you please repeat what you just said?
That these products, amyloids, develop in the brain, and they are always associated with some form of dementia. So the question is then begs, well, what produces the amyloids? And I would not know any of this except one of our customers is a leading drug researcher. This would be an interesting talk. This doctor developed GIFT. GIFT is gamete interfallopian tube. My brain is getting tired here. It's for artificial insemination for children, right? So it was developed for, you ready?
Yeah,
or are you just listening?
I missed one. She wants one.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Is that going to be a...
It's going to get her clothes all dirty.
Oh, okay.
There's straws. Will a straw help?
She took her medicine. She just took her medicine.
Oh,
Yeah,
well.
so we can't do it.
Okay.
This is an extra. Who wants it? It wasn't for her. Okay, I knew someone was going to take it.
George wants it. Good.
Okay. Yes.
Hospital grade.
There you go.
She's using it right there.
Where do you get it?
We have some charcoal products available tomorrow afternoon if you want to purchase. That way you don't have to pay taxes and shipping. And we always make them available at these programs far more than we have people coming, so there's going to be lots there available. Yes?
There's a question about the term activated.
Okay, it's on this,
It's on your,
it's on here.
okay.
I don't know why I inserted this one. So back to amyloids. Amyloids are associated with this buildup in the brain that somehow affects memory. What produces amyloids? Ammonia gas is a precursor to amyloid production in the brain. Ammonia easily bypasses the liver and crosses the blood-brain barrier. So I'm working backwards. Ammonia gas is absorbed into the bloodstream in the proximal end of the large bowel. That means the beginning of the large bowel. It's absorbed. Ammonia gas is produced in the distal end of the small bowel. So at the far end of the small bowel, before it goes into the large bowel, that's the ascending colon, that's where it's produced, and then it's picked up in the ascending colon, and it easily goes into the bloodstream, bypasses the liver, bypasses the blood-brain barrier, and then helps form these amyloids. Now this researcher was in some sort of collaboration with Roche. Roche is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And they had a 6-year study on a product for treating dementia Alzheimer complex. And 2 years ago, the FDA nixed their investment and they lost their opportunity. So since 2003, there has been 98 drugs tested for Alzheimer complex. 97 of them have failed. And the one that did pass was only very partial success. So the history of this, of trying to find this elusive drug that will help, has been essentially zero. They have not been able to come up with anything. And this last case with Roche, they finally had to give up. The lead researcher in that program for Roche said privately to this customer, he said, I am convinced that over-the-counter activated charcoal is the best antidote for prevention and treatment of Alzheimer complex. That's quite a statement. I never would have thought of that, except when I heard that, I thought, that makes such perfect sense. Because when you go back to that book by that doctor back in 1867, he said one of the first comments that people will take when they take charcoal is that their thinking seems clearer. That's the first comment. And we hear this on a regular basis. People will say, well, I started taking charcoal and my thinking seems more clear. Then you come up with a liver dialysis machine where people can't even talk and communicate, and after 1 or 2 treatments with dialysis, they can talk. What's happening? Something is creating this fog in their mind, and charcoal is somehow interrupting it. Not directly, not in that case anyway, but somehow it's interrupting that process. So when he told me this, and then they came to us about being developers for this product, and they have I think it was a $5 to $10 million Institute of Health grant from the government to test charcoal for Alzheimer's complex. So these are things we never would have, in our wildest imagination, would have guessed, except that's our business. We deal with all these different companies that are dealing with charcoal.
Excuse me, John.
Yes.
I may have missed it. I may have spaced out, but what is the difference between hospital grade charcoal?
Okay, so the lump that I showed you is just charcoal. Okay. And the activated charcoal is charcoal, but only less of it. You know, you've heard the expression less is more? Activated charcoal is less charcoal than charcoal. I'll explain. Okay. Now I've got your attention. So, ammonia gas is quickly absorbed by activated charcoal in the large bowel. What produces ammonia gas? What? There you go.
I read ahead.
Punchline. Okay, so he's a good reader. So an excessive protein diet, vegetable or animal-based, it's not exactly sure which one, but probably animal because it produces more ammonia in digestion. So it's probably, when you, again, you have to look at the big picture. How many Americans are on an animal-based diet and exposing themselves to animal proteins more than vegetable proteins? So we have to look at the society around us. What are they eating? And so it's most likely an animal-based diet that is high in protein. And we're back to that question last night, right? Changing our thinking. Where do we get our protein? And everybody thinks where? They have to get it from animals. When in fact the animals get it from what? Plants. So this researcher, his wife was showing early signs of dementia, and he put her on a program, and he said the whole family noticed in 2 months. 2 months. Now, I don't know how progressed it was. He didn't tell me, but the family members, which would be the ones who could tell, right? They began to notice a difference. So he's come up with a protocol of prevention, it's hard to detect, and so he's come up with a protocol to detect a trend. So if you can detect a trend of, say, triglycerides in your checkups, you can see that something's happening. Your triglycerides are slowly coming up. Something needs to change. Something's causing that. And they can also, they're developing tests now that can detect early dementia. And that's where he's developing his business model, is to develop a product that people will start taking this to detect it. And once they detect the early process, then they will start taking what? Charcoal. Along with something to acidify the large bowel, and so he has a supplement of vitamin C to help to acidify, because acidifying the bowel will help the uptake of ammonia. And he's given me reams and reams of research, and he says, publish it. And one of these days I'll make this into an article, and we'll see what happens. But again, here is God has given us a simple remedy that science has substantiated over and over and over again. I seriously doubt there's any drug on the market that has more research than charcoal.
Do you take charcoal on a regular basis?
I do not. My wife does.
Why?
She asked me the same question. But she's more into, she feels it's preventive, and I am a water fan. I want to give myself a heating compress or fomentations or a hot foot bath before I take charcoal. But if I detect any indigestion, the slightest symptom, somebody put charcoal capsules in my room at your house. So I said, oh, I recognize these. And she would use charcoal. Me, I might use a heating compress. That's where I started. I'm not prejudiced against charcoal, obviously, but my wife and I think differently. Mars and Jupiter, or Mars and Venus, something like that. And she thinks one direction, and but I think she uses, and one of her comments was, when she started doing this, I think better. And she looked at me, and I knew what she was thinking. We've been married long enough.
And you didn't trial it out. You needed one of those drinks.
Yeah, I've had plenty, believe me, over the years. So this is Fukushima. Anybody recall Fukushima, the earthquake, and then the power plants, the nuclear power plants, and everybody was worried about the power plants catching on fire. They wanted to put those fires out. And each one of those nuclear reactors had this giant crib of coconut activated charcoal before the bad air from the reactors went up these giant flues up into the atmosphere, and then the wind would carry it over to Hawaii and the west coast of California, and so you had to buy potassium iodide tablets to take away the poison iodine from Fukushima. That was the philosophy. So people were selling iodine tablets for $100 a bottle as a solution to, well, your body will then trade off the poisonous one for the good one. That was the philosophy. You know what the #1 antidote for radioactive toxicity is? This is known from the early 1900s. They said that regular charcoal, coconut charcoal, will neutralize radioactivity. Not just the toxicity, but it will absorb the radioactivity itself. Well, it's not, that's been scientifically validated. So anyway, all these reactors all around the world have these cribs, 8 to 10 tons of coconut activated charcoal. Because coconut, for whatever reason, is the one premium, it's the boy, a lot of emphasis. It's like somebody saying, did you hear that? So anyway, that's not the reason, but we do have coconut activated charcoal for sale because it tends to be the premium charcoal. It has one of the largest surface areas, which is where we're going. This is out of my book, and I came on this program and I forgot my Bible, my book, and my Ministry of Healing. I forgot all three of them sitting there on the table. I should have taken some. I knew somebody was going to say. I knew somebody was going to say that.
You got too much ammonia gas going on.
Too many beans. Okay, Dr. Agatha Thrash, medical examiner for the state of Georgia. Charcoal has amazing healing properties. In fact, if I was stranded on a desert island and could take only one thing along to protect me from disease, infection, injury, poisoning, I would choose charcoal. I would not choose charcoal. I lived on a desert island for 6 months and I got flesh-eating disease, and I would not take charcoal with me. You know what I'd take? Water. I'd take waterproof matches. Then I could make my own charcoal, and I could bake the fish that I caught in the water while I was sending up smoke signals for somebody to come back and rescue me. You gotta think the bigger picture, right? And I would have charcoal. Charcoal has amazing healing properties. In fact, if I were stranded on a desert island, she went on to say, and I don't have the book here, but she said her granddaughter was outside playing and ended up teasing an anthill of fire ants. And out came these fire ants, and she said the girl was bitten by hundreds of these fire ants. Now, one fire ant is enough to make your eyes to sweat a bit. But she was bit by hundreds of these things. They grabbed her up, stripped off her clothing, and went to the tub, filled it with warm water, put some charcoal in there, and put that little girl in the water. And how many hours later did it take before she was feeling better? Huh? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Can charcoal work fast? It can work super fast. And the other organ of our body that is a huge filter is what? Our skin. And the first time I saw this was Dr. Agatha, Dr. Calvin, has said to me, we've got this liver cancer patient, and his therapist, counselor, was gone someplace, and he said, Brother John, I want you to make a charcoal poultice and put it on his kidneys. And I'm nodding my head, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure where the kidneys are. I tell you the truth. There they put you on the firing line right away. The second day I was there, somebody said, okay, tomorrow you're drawing blood. Come with me. So they drew blood. Now I stuck things in myself, but it wasn't pull things out. It was put things in. And they had me drawing blood the next morning. And how would you feel if the therapist says, stop, I have to say a prayer before, before I do this. So I would pray with the people before I would draw their blood. Some of that kind of was unsettling to them. And this one woman came in, she was quite large, I'm getting off track here, but you could not see her veins. She was so large. And I said, I'm going to pray. You can pray all you want, you're not going to hit them. I hit it the first time. She said, nobody has ever hit me the first time. Thank you, Lord. Anyway, back to topic. Go ahead.
What is the ratio water to charcoal?
It's a question mark, question mark. There we go. Question mark / question mark. Anyway, back to this poultice over the kidneys. I did some quick research, found out where the kidneys were, and I made a charcoal poultice with cloth, not paper towels. And it was white paper towels, white cloth, whatever. I put it over the kidneys. Said a prayer with the man, and I'm thinking, well, I figured out where the kidneys are, but the doctor said he had liver cancer. So I was really confused. He said to put it over the kidneys. Don't argue with the doctor. And so I put it over. The next morning I came in to change the dressing, and they reeked of urine. Reeked. I just had to hold it like this. It was so potent. And of white paper, it all turned what? Yellow. Now, how is that possible? How can charcoal affect the blood to that degree that it will pull it from the blood, through the tissue, through the skin, into a poultice? Isn't that amazing? And I'm not the only one, and that's not the only time I've seen that happen. What is it? We're getting to the activated. What is charcoal? Wood burned in the absence of oxygen. Here are kilns in the early Americas where they're making charcoal for smelting. This is before, what's that coal product that they use for smelting? Anyway, they would put this wood in these kilns, and they would start them on fire, and then you can see all the steam coming off the sides. That's the moisture, and you're left behind with this pure, almost pure carbon. And some of the starting points today is peat moss, hardwood, coconut shells, bamboo, coal, macadamia nuts, hash, residue, on and on and on and on. Whatever is waste, they've now figured out that they can make charcoals out of them, and they're very effective as medicinals or for other commercial industrial applications that we never would have heard of except we're in the business. So here's a pure carbon product. Graphite is a carbon product. And I don't have a picture here, but the molecules of charcoal are like a lattice. They're 6 carbon rings in sheets, and so when you drag the pencil across the paper, the sheets of carbon slide off onto the paper and you're able to write. That's how a pencil works. On the other hand, and it's very soft, right? But it's pure carbon. Then on the other hand, you have another pure carbon product, and that's diamond, and everything is reinforced, so it makes it the hardest mineral on planet Earth. Next to hardest. And then you have charcoal, which is called amorphous. It has no real structure. It's just an undefined structure. It's soft. And here is an activated charcoal kiln. So you got the charcoal that you've made from bamboo or coconut, hardwood, and now or coal, and now you want to activate it. And so you put it in one end of the activator, this giant tube, and it rotates. And in there they generate these very high temperatures of like 600 to 800 degrees Celsius, no oxygen, but they may use an oxidizing agent, carbon dioxide, water, just enough so that it doesn't burn that coal up to ashes. You don't want it to go to ashes. You want to stop the process. Just like when you have a campfire, the ash builds up over the coals, the fire goes out, and the next morning you have charcoal underneath the ashes because it didn't get any more oxygen. If you had kept removing the ash, it would have all burned up, and in the morning you would have nothing left. So this process is trying to dramatically limit the availability of oxygen, and out comes the other end, this. Now you can imagine if we had a block of wood that say weighed 3 pounds, let's say it was 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot, it weighed 3 pounds. You turn that into charcoal and it's going to still have roughly, if you do it properly, you can still have roughly, say 10 inches by 10 inches by 10 inches. So it hasn't lost a lot of volume. But the surface area of that block, of that charcoal now, is dramatically increased. The surface area of that wood was only on the outside. Now you have charcoal that have surface area on the outside, but it also has surface area on the inside. Now you take it and you put it in this kiln, and it weighs 3 pounds, and it comes out the other end, and it weighs 1 pound, but it has almost the same outside dimensions. It almost looks like 10 inches by 10 inches, but it weighs 1/3 the weight. So what has happened, it's lost all this carbon, and it's now looks like a sponge on the inside. You know, so you have hard sponges, right? And then gradually you have spongier and spongier sponges. And the spongier they are, the more internal surface they have. It's more eroded, and that's what activated charcoal is. It's more sponge form than the regular charcoal. Where did it go? Okay, so 1 teaspoon of activated charcoal powder has the same surface area. If you could somehow magically unfold 1 teaspoon of activated charcoal powder, it would cover what? A football field, in this case a soccer field. So it's that huge surface area that catches these chemicals. Once it catches them, holds them, it will not let them go. So when you take it at this end and it passes through the body, it's picking up rogue chemicals, grabs them, it will not let go of them, and then they're eliminated from the other end. To let go of them, they have to be superheated. They have to be put on fire again. And that's why they wanted to put the fires out at Fukushima, because they were afraid that if those reactors caught on fire, they were going to liberate massive, massive amounts of toxic air. And so they tried to get their job is trying to get those reactors cooled down before they caught on fire. And we would not have known any of this, and I would not be telling you this, except we're a charcoal broker. And we were told that expect your prices to go up dramatically. And he said, what's happening? He says, well, the Fukushima, the Japanese government is buying up all the coconut activated charcoal on the market. Did you ever hear that in the news? Not once did you ever hear that. Recently, we just got another update. This is years later now. Just a couple months ago, we were told that the prices are going to be going up again dramatically. So my first reaction is, okay, who's hiding what? Guess who's buying it up? The Chinese government is buying up coconut charcoal, a certain grade of it, on the market. And we're all anticipating inflated prices again. So we were approached by an armaments company, an Italian armaments company, for charcoal filters for military carriers to filter out toxic fumes. So everybody's talking chemical warfare again because of some of the things that's happened in Syria. So when you activate the charcoal, you create these channels into the charcoal, and these channels are different sizes. And so when they get down to here, these are called micro porous. These are called mesoporous, the blue ones. And then you finally get out there and you're into what they call macroporous. The larger molecules will only go so far into the charcoal, and then the smaller and smaller the particles will be able to go down further. And so the industry deals with hundreds of activated charcoals for their designer charcoals for this, for that. It's all very, very specific. And part of that equation is this pore structure. So I'm giving you some history or some mechanics here. Yes?
So if it absorbs toxins, can it absorb your
Nutrients.
potassium, your good stuff, and filter your chemistry up?
So did you catch the question? If it's so handy at taking out all these negative things, what about the positive nutrients in our food? Minerals, vitamins, and so forth. Well, good question. It's a question that's asked all the time. And I usually answer the question indirectly. But I'll try and answer it directly. Why is charcoal in kidney and liver dialysis units and people don't suffer nutritional deficiencies? Why is it in colic-com for babies who take charcoal and they show no nutritional deficiencies? Why is it in animal feed and they actually see nutritional benefits by adding charcoal to animal feeds? So where is this rumor coming from that charcoal absorbs nutrients? Well, charcoal can't be that good. There's got to be something wrong with it. And so this rumor floats around, this question floats around the internet, and some people are emphatic. You be very careful because charcoal will absorb the nutrients in your food and you'll be depleted and you'll show deficiencies, whether it's magnesium or iron. First off, charcoal activated carbons do not absorb minerals very well. We know that industrially because of the industrial applications. We know that activated charcoal does really nothing much for minerals. But then you're asking questions about vitamins and so forth, supplements. Unless they are man-made, the natural vitamins and minerals do not appear to be absorbed at all. It's only when you get into man-made vitamins and supplements that you start seeing absorption on a very large basis. In other words, huge doses of charcoal, not just little ones, and usually it's coal-based charcoals, not vegetable-based charcoals. These charcoals are designed to take out large molecules. That's why they're used. But when you're using these vegetable-based charcoals, they're mostly what they call microporous or mesoporous. Now, since we've been talking about that, can you all get ready to make a poultice? Yeah? Okay. Yes, question.
My sister has cancer and they are deciding whether they're going to use radiation or chemo. If I taught her to put a charcoal poultice over where the cancer is that going to just pull out the chemo that they're trying on her too? Or would they be fighting each other or what?
Yes. Charcoal absorbs poisons. Chemo is super poison. So you're up against that contest. Did I mention to this group that we had one oncologist who referred his chemo patients, his radiation patients, to us for detox? So they would come and get charcoal. Yeah, that's where they are. Kidneys and liver are your filtering agents, right? And so they're working overtime trying to get rid of all this debris from your chemo or your radiation. And so the body's struggling to try and detox itself. And so you're supplementing that process by using charcoal. So this doctor was recommending it after treatment. You really have to think this through. I have to be very careful about what I say about using it for open cancers, but you saw that back in the 1800s, that surgeon was saying that it was used in all military and naval hospitals for what? Open cancers. And that was not activated charcoal. So you can see doctors were using it over 150 years ago for treating cancer, open cancers. I'm not that knowledgeable, but I can tell you we've seen it worked on cancers, melanomas, we've seen it remove melanomas, we've seen people who've been diagnosed and re-diagnosed with melanoma and gone. These had not erupted. I had a mole growing on the inside of my knee here, and it was becoming irritated and a problem. I didn't know what it was. It was looking angry, and it was black, and I thought, well, it's just in a bad place, and that's why I'm sensitive to it. So I thought, well, here's a chance to use charcoal. And my wife says, try charcoal. Why not try charcoal? Okay. So I started putting these charcoal poultices on. I only lasted 1 week. I could not handle the pain. The pain was so intense, I said, enough. Enough is enough. I cannot handle this pain. And so I stopped giving it. The next week, the mole fell off on its own. This is not the only time I've heard this. My sister did it on her own, same thing. And she did it for ingrown toenails, and she experimented as well. So we have pictures of open breast cancers being used. You really want to do your research. It's a hard question, you know. It's I would be confident doing it. My wife is overconfident doing it. But if you've not done this and you don't have a history of using charcoal, your uncertainty may translate to the person you're trying to help. The more you become acquainted with using charcoal on poison ivy, or on like Brian was using it on an infection, an inflammation, or heartburn, or colic, the more you get this experience, one day you're gonna say, well, let's try it, because I don't think it's gonna add to your problem. Unless you call a black breast a problem, I don't know. But it might not be a problem. The person might say, I'm happy with black breast, I just want to be rid of this cancer. And those are the things that you're gonna have to deal with. My wife would be a lot more aggressive in what she's telling you than me. She would say, let's do it. Who is it? Come on up here, let's go to have a talk. That's how aggressive she is, because she knows it's gonna work.
Amen.
I just haven't had that experience. Female problems, my wife will tell you all day long why it will work. Okay.
I want to share too, like when
Go ahead.
Sharing about poison ivy and things, and just building a confidence in what you're using, because like I've learned about charcoal like through John or from other people, you know, you gain information. That's only just head knowledge, right? But then you actually go to apply it.
Yes.
It's a whole different experience.
Yes.
It started in my own home. Like it starts in your home, on yourself, on children, grandchildren, whoever you have around you, your pets. We've used it on our dog. Like they've eaten what they eat, like those mosquito repellent things that go in the ponds. They just like thought that was a treat for them to eat. There was rat poisoning. We just give them charcoal and they were fine. Praise the Lord. But then Mason, he is horribly allergic. Like poison ivy just blows. It just takes over his whole body immediately. And he was covered in charcoal poultices for weeks. And people probably thought, like, why aren't you taking him to the hospital? But I trusted in my God. And if he wanted me to go, I'm not negligent to go. I just know what he's able to do. And so I kept doing it. It's a diligence that you have to keep doing, trusting in his power to heal. And just doing whatever he says. But yeah, so that's what we did. He recovered. Also, my dad has been diagnosed with mercury poisoning. He was in the Army and dealt with mercury gauges, as John was sharing some of those heavy metals. And those slowly leach out into your bloodstream, like they kind of hide out. So he occasionally, we see symptoms kind of reappearing with him again, and we just do charcoal again. And he'll do that for like 2 weeks and stop. And anytime, we just keep going back to charcoal. So, but we gained confidence because we had a personal experience with it. It's just like the gospel. You walk personally with God, you can share a message.
Exactly.
You can't share it if you haven't personally done it.
Well, now you've all drank some, and in most cases, you know, you're not going to have a reaction. Some people may vomit. And in a hospital, if they vomit the first time, typically they'll give them another dose. Thank you.
Hey John, I'd like to
Go ahead.
share a little.
Go ahead.
I was kind of skeptical when I started hearing about this charcoal stuff, and just a brief look at it online convinced me that it wasn't going to work before I really dug into it. And then we have a friend who I've met, Kerry. He should be here tomorrow, so everybody can get a bird's eye view on him. But for myself, my own experience, I'm in the contracting business, and I'm all the time. I've got cuts, and it happens all the time. And when I had ended up using this, I had grabbed the end of when I was using a chainsaw, and my hand grabbed a hold of the muffler end, and it blistered immediately. It stuck to the muffler, as a matter of fact. So I pulled it off, and the pain was just amazing. And as soon as I applied the charcoal, the pain was gone instantly. Wow. Same thing happened when we had disturbed a bee's nest in the ground. They're not very nice. And it had stung me. It's a new breed of bee that's in it. It's like a little tiny, like a yellow jacket, and they're a ground bee, and I think it's mixed with some of the killer bee stuff or something. But I've been stung before, and it usually lasts maybe a couple of hours, and then it swells. But this one was 3 days. It lasted for 3 days, and I didn't have the charcoal stuff. I just got hit again a couple days ago, right on my arm, and immediately I took the charcoal stick like this, and I just smeared it on there, and the pain was gone instantly, and the swelling had gone down just within a few hours. So, this coupled with the experience that we're having with Carrie, which I hope you guys will all be able to see. I mean, I have pictures of before, during, and we're going to have pictures of after.
Hopefully the real thing.
Hopefully the real thing will be here. He'll be here with us.
Yes.
And I had one of the same disease that he had going on. So and the Lord lifted me up from it. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. That my confidence has just skyrocketed ever since I had my own personal experience.